Do you ever feel like everything we've been told about aging, weight gain, menopause, and work-life balance is missing the bigger picture? In this episode of the Gen X Juggler podcast, I sit down with metabolic health and midlife wellness educator Lorie Eber, whose journey is as fascinating as the advice she shares. From spending 23 years as a corporate litigator to reinventing herself as a wellness educator, Lorie reveals the surprising lessons she learned about success, purpose, and what it really means to age well. In her fun and practical way, Lorie shows us that the key to aging well has less to do with genetics and more to do with the choices we make every day. It's a good conversation. Stay tuned.
Nobody's ever gonna take your place. Yeah, I think we should meet in the middle. I follow you 'cause you're the light of the day. I need you like you need me, it's so simple. It's so simple.
Welcome back to the Gen X Juggler podcast. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm excited that Lorie Eber is joining me on the podcast today. Lorie Eber is a metabolic health and midlife wellness educator who helps women understand how stress, sleep, hormones, and daily habits affect metabolism as we age. I can't wait to get into this. Welcome, Lorie Eber, to the Gen X Juggler podcast today. I'm so excited to talk to you. I've been looking forward to this conversation.
I'm very happy to be on. It's a privilege. We're going to have a good time with this.
Yes,
It's
we
okay
are.
to be older. It's okay.
That's right. And you help us know how to do that in the best way possible as far as how we feel, our weight, sleep, stress, all the things that we deal with at this stage of life in our midlife stage.
Thank you for grandmothering me in, because I'm really way too old for your podcast. I'm really in the boomer age. I'm a 70-year-old masquerading as a 55-year-old. How about that?
Oh my goodness.
I
would
can't
never have
believe
guessed.
I'm this old, Deb. It is quite appalling to me. Appalling.
I'm thinking it's better than the alternative. But you look
is.
great. I hope I look as good
Thank
as you
you.
do when I'm 70. Oh my
I
gosh.
try to take care of myself. I try. See, it does matter. 80% of aging is lifestyle.
That is so true. I'm so interested in the fact that you started your professional career as a corporate litigator and then found your
Yes.
way into health and wellness.
I
How did
kind of
that come
see it
about?
as I've had two different parts of my life. It wasn't like I hated being a corporate litigator and wanted to be something else and found my passion. It wasn't that way. I loved being a corporate litigator. I was there with the big guys. I was an important person in my own mind, you know. I wanted to prove, and I realized, Deb, in retrospect, I was really just proving it to myself, that I could make partner in a very male-dominated profession. And then I opened and ran a branch office from nothing. I have no idea how I pulled that off.
Oh, you pulled
So
that off because you're smart.
because I work my butt off.
Yes.
Persistence and figure it out and fall on your face. It won't hurt that much. Just keep getting back up. But I
Yes.
love being a corporate litigator. I wanted to be a lawyer. I was inspired by a TV program, of course, the best career planning ever, right? It was called Perry Mason. You probably have never heard of it. He was a criminal lawyer, and he won every single week on this show. And I went, that's my job. I want to win. I like the fighting. This will be fun. And I grew up in New York City. I was already trained to be a jerk, idiot litigator, I thought, you know. I learned
so
how
funny.
to fight, but I thought this will be fun. And my attitude was it's going to be way harder for me because I'm a girl and they're likely to notice. But you know what? I am not choosing the bitter, angry, looking for sexism around every corner. I'm not going that route. It's a waste of time. I'm going to find a way to kick in the door and win. That's all I cared about. It was not
Awesome.
about, you know, getting pissed off or, you know, calling HR. I don't do that stuff. You take life as it is and you find a way to get to your goal. So I was very, very focused on my goal. And they made it really, 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 really hard. And here's the most ironic part of it, and we don't have time to go into this, although it is a very interesting story, and I do have a book on it. The way I made partner after being passed over 4 times, Deb, I had a makeover.
You did. Okay.
That was it. It was physical.
So you made partner after you had a glow up.
Yep.
That doesn't feel
Yep.
like something men would have to do, if I'm being honest.
Oh, of course not. And it was really bizarre, and it was only figured out because I finally said, "Hey guys, why aren't you letting me in the door? What gives? I've been working my butt off. I work really hard. I think I'm a good lawyer." They said, "There's an issue with your communication skills." I said, "Okay, I will fix that." I had no idea what they were talking about. So I went to the yellow pages. We had yellow pages in those days. That you still remember it, that big old fat book. I looked up speech pathology, and I got lucky as hell. I chose this woman. I knew nothing about her, and I told her what my problem was. And they decided they needed to screen her to see if she was reputable enough to pay for 3 sessions to clean up my speech defect, whatever that may have been, imaginary. And so they took her out to lunch, and basically she psyched them out and figured out what the problem was. She came back to me and said, "They don't like the way you look. They don't think that you look like a representation of the firm that they want." And I said, "Well, what's wrong with the way I dress? I wear, a jacket and a skirt and stuff." She says, "You look like a volleyball player." I said, "I hate you too now. Thank you."
Some pretty attractive volleyball players.
So it was really all about a makeover. I swear to God, I was not a girly girl. I was a head person. So I got my colors done. Boy, that was some mumbo jumbo. Some woman came over and threw out half of my clothing. I went to some really expensive boutique in an alley in San Francisco and bought really expensive clothes and learned that they're pretty easy to get used to. I got my ears pierced. I had a better hairdo and product with instructions about how to use the product. I never wore makeup. I had to go get a lesson and then like a placemat like kids get when they go to, Denny's or something to color on, to figure out how to put on all this face paint crap. So that's what I did, and this sort of rolled out on a basis, and nobody ever said one word to me about the fact that I had quite drastically upgraded, I guess you can call it, my appearance. However, in honesty, I did feel some, eyes on my butt as I walked away, just saying.
My goodness.
So here's what
This
I
is
think. It was subliminal, Deb. I don't think they could have identified that as the problem at all. I just think my person psyched them out and figured it out. But here's the deal. Look, these are some old guys. They're used to a law firm. It's like a club. These are their buddies. This is a girl. We even have to have women in the law firm. We're not liking this. Okay, well, if they're an associate, okay, we can still fire them. Okay, she wants to be one of us? Are you kidding me? I don't want that. That's scary. That's not the image I have of a law partner. I was struggling on my own. I never had a mentor. I had a boss who was pretty bad, and nobody promoted me within the firm. And as usual, I didn't know what the gig was. I didn't know how you do this thing. I didn't know that you're supposed to go brag about every little damn thing you do and, come up with stories and, make sure you go to lunch with the right people. I didn't know any of that. I just thought you work your ass off, you make partner. Wrong.
Yeah, you know the law and you do a good job and you make partner. That's
Nah,
the way it
nah,
should be.
it's not that way. Anywho, that was a little diversion. So now we have 10 minutes left, Deb. Oh, well. It
We
may
got
have
more
been
than
more
10 minutes.
interesting than our real topic anyway. So anyway, I did make partner, and I did. Then what happened was the law firm had gotten statewide contracts from a couple of big clients, and so that meant somebody was hopping on Southwest going up and back like a lot. And that person happened to be me. And I said, guys, first of all, I don't see how we're making any money doing this. And secondly, it's a lot of wear and tear, and I don't like it. And more of the work is in SoCal than it is in Northern California. And they said, yeah, you're right. And I said, why don't we have a branch office down there? And they said, because we had one before and it failed miserably. But if you would like to go try again, try again. So if you tell Lorie she can't do something, Lorie will find a way to do it. Like when the guidance counselor at Penn State said, what do you want to do when you graduate? And I said, I want to be a lawyer. And he says, too many people are applying to law school. You're not going to get in. I suggest you do something else. Why you would say that to a kid, I have no idea, but that's what the man said. And I have dreams of tracking him down and doing something to him. But he's probably dead, so I think I'm a little late.
Can I say that is one of my pet peeves? The people who throw water on other people's dreams.
Especially
why do we have
kid.
Yes, why do we have to be all practical when you are starting, when you're young and fired up and ready to do anything?
Go
that's
for
the time
it.
to be impractical. Yeah, absolutely. You want to be an astronaut? Go for it. You want to be on stage somewhere? Go for it.
President, you're crazy.
That's right.
But go for it.
Go for it.
Anyhow, so I took that as a challenge, and somehow I figured it out. I interviewed the first person at the Orange County John Wayne Airport. I had never taken one business class. I knew nothing about how to build a team or anything else, and it's very successful today.
Wow.
I just made it work.
That's awesome. Just taking the first steps and going forward with purpose can do so much.
I just somehow, with no information at all and no reason to believe this, I believed I could do it. I didn't have any doubt. I just thought I'll find a way.
Yes. That's
Why not?
awesome. Why not? And then somehow you found your way into the field of metabolic health, and
yeah.
That's
Here's what happened. So I'm a lawyer for 23 years, and I'm kind of getting the been there, done that attitude towards my work. I'm kind of thinking, geez, I made partner. That was really all I ever expected to do. And I established the branch office. Wow, what else am I going to do with law? And my answer kept coming back, nothing I can really think of. So I'm thinking, I'm not jumping up and down to go to the office or to drive to LA at the crack of dawn for a 2-minute court appearance. I'm getting kind of tired of all this management stuff. I don't know. I've done this 23 years. I'm going to live a long time. I'm going to work until I drop dead, and I still say that. I think I should do something else. And the other big factor was I had gotten remarried. This is husband number 2. He remains husband number 2. Husband number 1 was just a little mistake. He was an Excel spreadsheet gone wrong is what he was. I literally did an Excel spreadsheet. Then I figured out, if you're going to do an Excel spreadsheet, you already got your damn answer, and it is no. Anyway, this is number 2, and I realized immediately he's a keeper. It was love at first stairmaster climb, literally.
Did you meet in the gym?
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
And we went on the Stairmaster for 30 minutes, and when I got off, I knew. I just knew. And keep in mind, I am a skeptical New Yorker. I don't usually go with my gut, my intuition. I'm analytical. That's what they taught me in law school. And occasionally I go with my gut, and that was one of the times, and I was right.
It sounds like to me that you can really trust your gut. Your gut leads you
I trust
in the right
myself.
direction. That's so important.
So anyway, I get married, and suddenly hits my radar screen that you actually have to invest time into relationships to make them work, which is probably why marriage number 1 didn't work, since neither of us bothered. And I thought, so Lorie, you're on your deathbed. Are you going, I wish I had billed 1 more hour for that law firm? Or are you going, well, I touched at least one person in life, and I had a wonderful life and I felt supported and loved, I'm going with door number 2. So how do I get to door number 2? Well, here's what Lorie knows about herself. She is this worst go-getter in the history of the universe. Right now, people say, you're a wellness coach, but you're like a type A wellness coach. I go, yeah, I am. Maybe A+. I go 100%. So what was happening was I'd come home from work, and my husband would say, I am not your secretary. And so what I realized was, Lorie can't go, time out, new role, loving wife, leap into it. She's still the jerky boss. I couldn't make the adjustment. And I just thought, be real, Lorie. You're never going to make the adjustment. It's not a capability you have. And I just thought, yeah, I could do part-time, but part-time would just mean Lorie's working full-time and she took a pay cut. So that's not going to work. So I just thought, you know what? I need to just walk away from this career and figure out something else to do. So my partners were shocked and very envious, and I walked away. And guess what? The law firm survived. I wasn't that indispensable. Go figure.
Yeah, and like you said, we're only indispensable in our personal relationships, in our families, with our friends. And sometimes we get that a little backwards in our approach.
And I can tell you, we talk about work-life balance all the time. It's really, really impossible to pull off. But what I decided to do was kind of do it sequentially. I mean, what's wrong with that? First I did career and then I did personal. Who says you have to mix them? That was way too hard for me. So I wandered around for 10 years till I found my passion, Deb. 10.
10 years to find your passion.
That was just like a complete, straight line, no detour. Though, yeah, I had an epiphany one day. Not. So my approach was I retired from law. I had no idea what I was going to do because I was so wound up with trying to leave gracefully, leave on a good note and do it on my terms. So I couldn't even think of what was later because I was too focused. So my advice when you make a career change that involves your identity, my idea was Lorie the lawyer. Now I have Lorie with no lawyer, and I'm like, who the hell is this woman? Does she know how to do anything other than practice law? Are there other skills and talents? What makes her happy? I have no idea. That was my whole identity. And when I gave it up, it was really scary. And I do some career changing coaching now, a lot of it is sort of accidental. They come in and I say, you need to quit your job. And they go, no, no, no. And then 3 sessions in, they're going, tell me about your career transition, Lorie.
I think what you're talking about right now is such a big thing in midlife. We start to kind of take account of what we've been doing, if it's fulfilling, what would fulfill us. We know ourselves so well. My audience has heard me say this a million times. By now, we know ourselves well. And we have to decide if we're going to act on what we know or stick with the status quo. And it's scary sometimes to act on what we know.
Yes, it is very scary. It is a lot easier to just maintain, bitch and whine, stay till you're vested, stay till Medicare kicks in or something like that. Hate your job. But, I tell people there are no do-overs. There are no do-overs. You don't get a second chance to do it right. And if you hate your job, you have to consider you're spending most of your work hours doing something you hate. Why? Do something you like. Take the risk. So anyway, the second time around, I took the idea you don't have to beat the hell out of the door anymore. This time you're going to look for one that's at least cracked open, okay? If it ain't cracked open, just go somewhere else. Don't make it so hard. So I had a real nice self-discovery interlude of 10 years. And I found out I actually could do a lot of different things, much to my amazement and pleasure. So the first place I went was aging studies because I'm thinking, where are career possibilities? Well, I know we got an aging population. I had a personal experience moving my dad, who lived in New York City, out to California into a care facility. One would think that would not be that difficult to do. When I found out how fractured and messed up the elder care system is in this country, I thought, there's got to be a job in there somewhere. So Lorie is not dumb enough to just hang out a shingle and start practicing something, which is what my husband, you already know this, just, start a business. I'm like, I don't know anything. So I went back to school. I love learning. You should see my wall of certifications. It's insane. There's no space left on the wall. I love learning. What I did not love was a campus environment. So I found Coastline Community College, and I did the certification all online.
Oh, that's great. Isn't that awesome that that's an option for us
That
now?
was awesome. So that was really cool. Meantime, I thought, well, let me find out what this field is all about. So I figured best way to find out, start volunteering, giving away your time. So I went to Council on Aging Orange County, and I found out they have something called an ombudsman program, which I thought, this is a happy coincidence. It's almost like I'm using my legal skills. How cool is that? So they go in and they inspect these elder care facilities and try to get them to clean up their act if they're deficient. And if they don't listen to you, licensing comes in, and that's the big dog, and they pay attention to them. So you're actually doing something that is very useful. Anyway, so I started doing that, and then eventually they started a continuing education program to bring some money into the organization. So I'm in charge of running this program. I've never taught a course in my life. I've never created any curriculum other than what I just did for redoing that program. So I thought this will be fun. So what does Lorie start with? Sex in elder care facilities. Well, you got to get them in the door, Deb. And it's a thing, and people don't talk about it. It's a thing. So we have pretty good sign-ups for that. And what I found out is Lorie loves a microphone. I loved getting up there, calling on the person in the last row who was sleeping and scaring the hell out of everyone else in the room. It was really fun. So
I
I taught
agree.
a number of those classes, and I stayed at the council for 6 years. And I had a good time, and then I couldn't stand it anymore. Meanwhile, I finished my certification program, and the last part of it is some kind of internship you have to do. And somehow I ended up at the instructor's house, and we had a long discussion. And she said, you know what, Lorie, I think you'd be good at teaching. And I went, teaching? I don't have any interest in teaching. No way I want to do teaching. Before you know it, Lorie's doing teaching. So I teach
That's
at
great.
that same college. I've taught there for 20 years now. So I teach online, and in the beginning I was teaching aging studies, which is what I'd been educated in. And then we got a dean who was all into health and wellness, and I went, hey, can I create some classes in health and wellness? And he said, yeah, go for it. So I have 2 of those, and that's mainly what I teach now, online.
That's awesome. And what
I
I'm picking
sneaked
up
my
on is
passion into my teaching, so that was pretty cool. You never know.
my mom always said if you find a job you love, you never have to work another day in your life. I know she didn't come up with that,
Exactly.
but that's how she was with her job for sure. And since you met your husband at the gym, I'm assuming you were already very into health, wellness.
Physically, yes. Eating wise, no. Stress wise, no. Sleep wise,
Hmm.
no. Well, see, I grew up in New York City, and I went to an all girls Catholic high school that had no athletic facilities. So I was never an athlete or a person who worked out on a regular basis at all. I had a boyfriend in my second year of law school who would get up at the crack of dawn and he'd go for a run and he'd come back with his big smile on his face every day. And he never pressured me, and he never said, you should come along, you should try it. And one day I said, can I come with? And it turned out he was running around the polo fields in San Francisco in Golden Gate Park. And it's like a 1/4 mile track. The first time I thought I was going to drop dead. And then I just kept coming back, and I became a runner, and it really saved my brain during studying for the bar, which was really stressful. I'd go out for a run midday. So I started running, and then when I was practicing law, I joined a gym in San Francisco because I felt so stressed out after being at work all day. I thought, I'm going to take somebody's head off. Why don't I just go to the gym for stress relief and commute relief too? So that's what I did. So I was good at the exercise component. My eating strategy was eat whatever you can get away with without getting fat.
Right.
And
A lot of us have been there.
I was a faker vegetarian for 14 years.
A faker vegetarian.
A faker vegetarian. I became a vegetarian as a high school student for two reasons. I had read a book, Diet for a Small Planet, it was called. I was very young and impressionable, and I thought, I don't want to eat animals. I like animals. Meanwhile, I'm in New York City. I don't think I'd ever seen a live chicken, let alone, a herd of cattle or anything. So why I cared is beyond me, but I did. And also I wanted to annoy my mother and make it a requirement that she make a special meal for me, and I actually got my brother to join the program. So anywho, here was my faker vegetarian diet. Pizza, pasta, desserts. Vegetables, not so much. But I was technically a vegetarian. I wasn't eating any meat products. I wasn't eating any fish.
I did the same thing for 2 years in my 20s. I was like, I'm going to be a vegetarian. I had a friend who was vegetarian and her skin glowed and she was always happy. I was like, I'm going to be like her. And it was fun. I'm from Texas, so we do have a lot of cows and chickens. And it was fun to drive by the feedlots and go, hey, buddies, I didn't do this to you. Like, I'm not contributing to this.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Yes, not guilty. But I did end up just eating nothing but carbs. And I don't think Twinkies are actually vegetarian, but I thought they were. And I would eat and my doctor, I was like, I've been vegetarian for a few years now, and I am eating a lot of sugar. And my doctor goes, you are missing a lot of things. You need to, that's an indication that your body's missing stuff. So, and I think I gained a lot of weight too.
So you were a faker vegetarian too.
Yes.
But see, the thing was, Deb, it wasn't common when I did it, and everyone thought I was so saintly, I was doing something great, and I was doing something way worse than they were doing.
So when it comes to midlife, we have all these changes going on. My friends and I talk about this all the time. I'm not as much in the thick of the changes only because I had been 100 pounds overweight in my 40s, and I had gastric sleeve surgery, and I lost weight. And I've been maintaining my weight since then. And I did have a mommy makeover about 2 years ago to just get rid of skin that results from rapid weight loss. But I have a lot of friends now who are dealing with like all of a sudden having a belly in their midsection when they never did. Or
yes.
Yeah. And we're not doing anything differently. And if I hadn't gone through all this stuff recently, I would be in that exact same boat. And it is still harder for me to lose weight. I'm on a GLP-1 right now just to drop another 15 pounds because the fear of being 100 pounds overweight again is very real in my daily life every day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure. That fear is never going to leave.
Yes.
Constant reminder.
Yes.
Your metabolism changes. Your body's changing. You have to adapt. I mean, it used to be, it's exactly what you're talking about, Deb. I gained a couple pounds. I just, I'd run a little bit further, would come right off. Not anymore. Not anymore. Metabolism changes a lot. Your body is adapting. You got to go with it. You can't fight it. The same things that always worked, they're going to stop working. It's called biology. Here's what I know from my aging studies. Bodies are made to be child-producing machines. They are at their prime to have babies. After age 35, we start basically declining. But it happens very slowly. Now, for women, we're so lucky we get these hormonal crazy fluctuations. And, we call this perimenopause. And it usually happens in your 50s, but it can happen in your 40s. And it can go on for 8 or 10 years, and you can still have the symptoms even after you're menopausal, which is amazing to me. Another amazing fact, medical school does not teach practitioners about menopause. Can you believe that?
That's insane to me. I have heard that. I've had a couple of people come on the podcast to speak about menopause, and it's like it's almost a new area of study right
Yeah,
now.
like they
I
don't
don't
want to
remember
talk
my mom
about it.
talking about it. Yeah.
Nope, nope. And it can be a time of real suffering for a lot of women. And I had the night sweats. It was like an alien invaded my body in the middle of the night. It was disgusting, is all I can say. I'd wake up in a cold sweat. My bed is drenched. I feel horrible. I got to dry off, put a towel down over the wet spot, and try to go back to sleep. I'm like, what did I do to deserve this? Thank you, God, for making me female. I didn't even use the damn equipment. Please stop. The other thing is, Deb, a lot of women are having perimenopausal symptoms that they do not know are caused by perimenopause. They think they're going crazy. They think they
Yes.
turned into a raving lunatic. They don't understand why, they seem almost bipolar these days. One day they're happy, the next day they're weeping uncontrollably. They don't understand why they can't sleep. A lot of stuff that we don't even associate with perimenopause can be happening. I mean, the classic thing is, you think about hot flashes. And look, those can be damn embarrassing. Let's say you are a person who goes around and gives a lot of speeches. In the middle of the damn speech, you break out in a hot flash. How are you going to cover that up? So you get up there and you have this fear. It's not fun.
Yeah, because
And
you have no control over it.
you have no control, and that's what perimenopause feels like. Now, what I learned, because I got certified in some menopause thing, of course, is that there is a society where you can go find practitioners who have additional training, and you can search by location. It's called the Menopause Society, I think. It's online. And so if any of your listeners are not getting good answers from their GP or OB/GYN, which a lot of them are not because they're not educated, go there and find someone who has extra training and certification, because it is worth it. And the other thing that has happened is, hormone replacement therapy. First, it was going to cure everything in life. You should stay on it till you died. You never have one disease. Kind of like what's going on with the GLP-1s now. They cure every disease known to man. I don't
Yes.
buy it. Anyway, so it was the be-all and the end-all. You get on it, you stay on it. It's wonderful. And then out comes some other research that says you're going to die tomorrow the first day you're on it, basically.
Yeah.
And some women are going, huh? What? Do I need to get off it? What's going on? Panic sets in. The practitioners don't know where to land in this landscape. And so you have some who haven't heard the news, and they're back in the first round of research. And then you got others who panicked and will never prescribe it to anyone because they think it's going to kill you.
Yes.
And with most of these things, the answer is, the reality is somewhere in the middle. What they're finding is if you start it early and use it for a discrete period of time, it can be very effective. But a lot of practitioners just shy away from giving it to anyone because they heard the bad research, and their MO now is, no, you don't do that. But I have had people who were suffering, literally suffering. And it can be things like lack of energy. I'm dragging my butt through the day every day, and it's a miserable way to live. Or I just can't sleep at all, or I'm barking at my kids. This is horrible. And they finally get some hormone replacement therapy, and they tell me it's like I'm a new person. This is wonderful.
Yes.
So there's a place for that. But, it's very confused out there in the marketplace, and it depends who you go to and what their attitude is. And you got to do your own research and figure it out and get what you want. But it is a remedy. The other thing is, I know they approved a couple of medications that are not hormonal for hot flashes now. So there are other drugs out there and up and coming that can help some women with some of the symptoms.
So I know that you really recognize the importance of nutrition, sleep, stress,
and social connection.
And social connection in our daily fight to stay healthy in midlife
Yes,
once our hormones
because a
start
lot of
changing?
people, Deb, when they talk about health, they're only focused on exercise and nutrition. They stop there. These
Mm.
other factors are equally important in terms of how your metabolism works. And a lot of people who come to me who are overweight, the real problem turns out to be stress. And a lot of women, what they start doing is they just eat less and less and less, and basically are starving themselves and ironically slowing down their metabolism, leading to weight gain. But we've always been taught, it's the calorie imbalance that creates the weight loss. It doesn't. It doesn't. And when you're stressed or when you didn't sleep, you got cortisol running through your system. You are not going to win a battle against a hormone.
Yes. Can you take a minute to explain cortisol to us? Because we hear about that all the time now, but I don't know that all of us understand how cortisol keeps our weight on and how it's related to stress.
Well, I'm not a physician, so here's my amateur explanation. It's a hormone produced by the adrenal gland, and when you are in this flight and fight mode, which is what we call it, the go, 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 which is, by the way, intended to be like some jerk is about to hit you on the freeway feeling, momentary, if you live in that place, and many people do all day, every day. And I have to say, it's kind of seductively fun too. You're very focused, you're on top of the game, but here's what's happening. All of the energy is going towards making sure the jerk doesn't hit you and you swerve in time. Anything other than that, like digesting your food, a very low priority. So all of those other systems slow down. And if you're talking about storage, it's probably going to store your food as fat because it's not going to process it properly because it has other priorities, which is basically keeping you alive. And one thing that happens and why sleep is so important is when you sleep, your hunger hormones get reset properly and your cortisol level goes down. If you don't sleep enough, you don't know if you're hungry or full because those didn't get reset properly. And you got this hormone running around that wants to store everything you eat as fat. So it's a whammy. And the same thing if you live in stress all the time, you're in go, go, go mode, and digestion, not a priority. And then, a lot of us are prone to using food for emotions, stress being number one. But also, we use food for everything in this society. You're bored, you eat. You're Netflixing, you eat. You are a mom and now you finally put the kids down and you have your only 2 minutes and you're scarfing down, whatever. You had a terrible day at the office and you can't yell at your boss. So you can reward yourself with a pint of ice cream. Why not? We do that a lot. And a lot of snacking that I see with my clients is after dinner. So think about it. They just had the biggest meal of the day. They're probably about to go to sleep in an hour or two, which is already dumb, but that's our society and that's the way I eat. That's my biggest meal. Now we're going to snack. Is that about I'm hungry? I don't think so. So what is
Comfort,
it about?
boredom. Yeah.
Boredom, habit, reward, a lot of emotional stuff. You are so much better, brush your teeth, put the food away, go for a walk.
Yes. And I
So
I have
have you heard of
noticed
fart walks?
of what? No, say again.
Fart,
Oh, I think
fart walks.
fart
F-A-R-T. Fart walks. It's a
the
thing,
after
Deb.
dinner.
Lori didn't make it up, but that's what they are called, and that's what they do. And many practitioners are now saying we really should walk after every meal to get the digestion going. It matters. So what do? We sit on the couch and stuff more food in our face.
Yes.
Go for a fart walk, at least after dinner.
That's true. And if you're on a fart walk and you're wanting to be discreet, you've got to be aware if you're wearing those noise canceling headphones of how discreet you're actually being. Or church the next Sunday could be awkward if you've got friends at the park.
So I know that's kind of a weird term, but it hits home.
Yeah,
It's a
you got to
fact.
be real. You got to be
Your
real.
body digests food, it farts. That's the way we digest food. We need to talk about it. With my clients, I say there's no TMI. Tell me about your bowel movements.
Right.
I
Right.
want to
Yeah.
hear
And
about them. They matter. If you're constipated, you know what? You're not a happy camper. You do not feel good. We need to deal
that's
with this.
that is so true. That is so true. And that's why, like, the things we're trying to use to kind of magically lose our weight these days, we take these GLP-1s to help us and it slows down your digestion. And so that's something you
Yep.
really have to watch. And I've recently learned, um, I noticed that I was lacking motivation in a lot of
Yep.
areas when I got to the higher doses. I guess it attaches to our dopamine receptors to make
Yep.
food less of a reward, but it kind of
Yep.
makes everything
Some
less of a reward.
right, including fun things like sex, which really is bad news, especially for your husband.
So everybody's looking good and nobody's doing
Nobody's
anything about
feeling
it.
good. Yeah, it's true. It's kind of like an even affect all your life,
Hmm.
but it's not wonderful because you don't really
No.
experience things the way you like to.
Yeah, I have noticed that my walks help mitigate that a little bit.
Yeah,
I guess they
exercise
give me
helps
a little bit more.
everything for sure. But yeah, that's some side effect that some people experience. I coach a lot of people who are using the medications, and I'm not opposed to them. But what I don't like is the physicians are not getting the word out that when you're on one of those, you need to be very scrupulous about a healthy diet. You're eating
Hmm.
fewer calories, you cannot live on junk, you're going to have nutrient deficiencies, you got to get adequate protein, you got to get adequate water, and you got to strength train because you're losing muscle mass, which means when you get off it, you got a slower metabolism. But the
So
doctors,
true.
they dispense the medication. They don't tell the patient about any of these things, and they don't refer to people like me because I'm not part of the medical clique. I don't have a billing number. So
Hmm.
people are using them in ways that are not super productive sometimes.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I've actually gone back on my bariatric vitamins that I was on right after I had my gastric
Yeah,
sleeve surgery when I couldn't eat much because I'm noticing, I mean, some days it's a struggle
yeah.
I'm at the very highest dose now, and I think
Uh,
next month I'm going to drop back because I
and
almost
the
can't
other
eat
the other
anything.
thing I know, and I have not been on injectable, but I got a very wimpy version of COVID, and the only symptom I have, and this is how I know for sure it was COVID, no taste, no smell. I
Oh,
was incredibly miserable. I had no idea what a big pleasure eating is until that happened to me. So here I am trying to look up what is the spiciest pepper known to man. See if I can wake up those taste buds. Nothing was working. If I had my eyes closed, I could not have told you what dinner I was eating that night. I was force feeding myself because I could feel physically I was hungry, but no enjoyment. And I realized it is a big deal in life to enjoy food. And go figure, it's the last thing we do before we croak. That should mean something, right? But some people on the GLP-1s are telling me they don't enjoy eating anymore, and I think that's a big loss.
yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing to consider is our society right now, anything social is eating.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we
That is
going?
so
What
true.
restaurant are we meeting at? That's what we do these days. We don't go,
Yes,
which museum are we going to? We go, what restaurant? Because everyone can do it. It's fun, it's pleasurable. And if
you
you
can
lose that
visit. Yeah.
pleasure, or you go there and you order an entree and you can only eat 3 bites, that's not fun.
It's not. And that's exactly what I'm experiencing right now. And you want to go with the crowd and go be with everybody. And then
Yes.
it's just kind of a miserable
It
experience. It
is. And
really,
you look
yeah,
at them
that's
and you
true.
go, oh, they're really enjoying food and I can't eat another bite. I already feel sick.
Yes. Yeah. It's like get a to-go box when your food comes to the table so you can just get
Yep.
rid of it. Because I don't want to look at it once it's making me not feel great. I'm just like, get it away.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I am
Don't
losing
go.
weight.
Yes.
Does that show a bad, like that my priorities are out of whack, that I'm willing to not enjoy food in order to shave off that last 15 pounds?
I don't think it's not a morality play the way people are trying to make it. Look, everyone has their own path. They do whatever works for them, but I still think at the end of it all, you got to do the hard work. You got to, even if you get it off, the only way to maintain and keep it off, which is the only part that matters, because really you can go up and down, but there's no prize there, is that you get healthy and that you put in the work. And eventually you have to do that. I think
Yes.
they can be good for a number of reasons. I have, someone who comes to me, they're in their 50s or 60s, they've been overweight for a very long time. I can tell you, based on doing this for quite some time, the body does not want to change. It does not want to let the weight go no matter what they do. It is really, really hard to get the metabolism going again. And if you can get a head start from something like that, I say go do it. I don't recommend staying on it till you die like Oprah is going to do, because I don't think it's wonderful. But there is a base of physicians who are saying, look, it's just like your diabetes medication. It's just like your high blood pressure medication. You just go on a maintenance dose forever. I kind of think you should be able to figure out how to eat without duct tape on your mouth.
I agree with that. I can't wait to be off of it. My doctor said she wants to leave me on it after I achieve my goals for the same reason you just said, that the body wants to go right back to where it was.
It does.
Get the body used to being where we want it, and then taper off and go to just maintaining a healthy diet and exercise and try to stay where we want to be. Especially for Gen Xers, we're almost getting in touch with kind of who we were in our early 20s or as teenagers, that lust for life, that enjoyment of our friends, that what comes next. And if we're feeling like garbage because we're overweight and our back hurts and our knees hurt and we have acid reflux and all those things, we're going to cheat ourselves out of some of that enjoyment. And we've got these little grandbabies, some of us now, that we want to run around with for a long time to come. And so we need to hear from people like you to teach us how
I say I'm not giving in to the old lady. Why? I'm not going to be an old lady. I choose not to be. I'm going to be young and energetic and vibrant, and I can still look like, I have a good figure from the back till you see the face, and then you go, oh my God, she's 70 years old, but that's okay.
I disagree, by the way. I disagree.
I'm going to
I would
keep
not have
working
guessed
at
that.
it every day. It matters. And I want to just, look, I don't care if I set a record for, living to 123 or I drop dead tomorrow, but I want to be energetic, full life, have purpose. Super important as you get older and as you retire. You got to feel like you're using your time well. There's going to come an end to it. Who knows how many more years, but the older you get, the fewer you got left, most likely, because nobody gets out alive. So I want to be healthy, 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 dead. That's the way I want to go.
Yes, me too. Me too. So when my listeners go looking for more of your good stuff, where do they need to look online to find you?
Well, I'm all over social media, Lorie Eber, but my website is LorieEberWellnessCoaching.com.
Okay,
I have a lot of wonderful resources in there, a ton of articles and recipes and information, and I love to coach people one-on-one who want to work on their health, because people like the feedback, they like the individual attention and the personal guidance. It can really be helpful. And a lot of times people, they come for weight loss and they think, they're ashamed. Why can't I figure this out on my own? Controlling this jaw muscle, the hardest thing to do in today's society.
It definitely is. It definitely is. It can be such a lifelong battle, but with the proper tools, we can get a handle on it and we can enjoy the second half of this wonderful life to the full. And that's what we want to do. And thank you so much. I will link your social media links and your website in the show notes. And Lorie, I just appreciate you joining me today. This has been fun, and I hope you come back and see us. You did say we were going to have fun.
I kept you laughing, Deb. That's good.
You absolutely did.
It's been a blast, my dear.
Thank you so much.
Nobody's ever gonna take your place. think we should meet in